We do. That's good. Step one for not struggle streaming some audio. Let's get ready to get this crack all out there. Yeah, let's come on up out of here. There we go. No, we don't need that again. We don't need that again. We have to get this thing started, you know? Happy effing Friday. Or technically Saturday now, but you know what I'm saying. Happy weekend. Thank God. Thank Godzilla. Shout out to Theo Cooper, the Do Better podcast. Oh my God, I was checking out his crazy Do Better podcast awards earlier today. That joke was crazy. But shouts out to him. Cheers to all you good people. We made it to the weekend, man. I hope you got them taxes done on Monday. This was a crazy week, man. This is one of those weeks that seemed like it went by fast and it was like forever at the same time. And taxes probably had something to do with that. And it's like, I'm up here getting on a live at 1:15 a.m. Eastern Standard. And it's like, why would you be doing a live this late at night or early in the morning or whatever? And I've been toying with these lives starting last week at midnight on these on this vertical YouTube platform, and I've been liking it and stuff so far. But I wanted to see how Friday night was at 12, and my daughter started a new job this week, and it happens to be over by the Battery, which is the Braves Stadium. And she got off at 11:30 tonight. So needless to say, I didn't even get back here till about 30 minutes ago. So I didn't get to jump on at at midnight, but I'm jumping on now at 1 a.m. with you fine people. And just brings me to one quick thing. Not gonna ask y'all to do a lot. Okay, not even gonna ask y'all to hit that like and subscribe and all that good stuff. What I would like you to do, if you could, pretty please, in the chat, please let me know if you are watching this on your phone or computer, because I'm trying to figure out how I want to continue going forward with this. If I want to stay on the on this vertical platform, or if I want to go on a regular live stream. I'm having a good time doing it, but I just want to know which one is the best way to go about doing it. So I want to see if people are watching on phones or not, because if I understand this correctly, if you watch it on the computer, you get the black bars on the side. So anyway, I just wondered about that. So really right quick, I'm gonna give you a rundown of what in case you didn't see the little waiting room intro thing, what I'm gonna go over in the show. What? Come on, bro. Oh my God. The thing is, okay. I'm trying to shout out somebody. Please apologize if I get your name wrong, but Aries, and you are watching on the phone. I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you putting it in the chat, because that's what I wanted to know. But on the show tonight, of course, the main topic is always going to be Diddy. Hashtag daily Diddy. Hashtag did Diddy do it? Hashtag Diddy did it. I guess, maybe. We're going to find out. But DJ Akademiks sat down with VLAD Tv, and he gave his opinion on some of the Diddy stuff, as well as some insight about him thinking that this has been going back decades ago, as far as the feds and some people, looking into Diddy. And he also suspects that 100% there will be charges filed. Like a lot of people have been like, he hadn't been charged yet. So what is that saying? He like charges are coming. That's his opinion. Also, Shyne is interviewed, and I didn't even know that he was a politician in Belize at this point. Did anybody else know that? Y'all probably did, and I didn't, because I don't be up on stuff like I should be. But Shyne is speaking on the incident from, of course, the 1999 club shooting where J-Lo was at and all that good stuff. So we're going to get to those. Before those, really right quick, I'm going to do an update on some community leadership. And those all-stars are like Fonnie Willis, but I don't have anything on her right now. But the next one in line, and really she might be number one, is the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, up in Dalton. One of her top aides just got indicted. And then before... Actually, I came on this to go pick up my daughter. I saw where the FBI actually went into Dalton today and served some subpoenas. What we got over here? Come on, yo. L Porsche, what's happening? Of course we're going to notice you, boy. We are going to notice you. Oh yeah, man. You have a great day. You have a great day. In a Reese, of course, you know I'm shouting you out. But yeah, so the feds rolled up on Henyard and Company today, so we're gonna check that out right quick, and then we're gonna go over to this issue that I almost feel like I can't get away from, man. It's like ever since the NCAA tournament and Caitlin Clark breaking the record and then her getting drafted, it's just been this whirlwind about pay that I thought everybody kind of knew, you know, where everything stood on that, but apparently not, because people are still talking about it. So we're gonna run over those right quick, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get to the Diddy stories. So let's get started, because it's the weekend, bro. I know y'all ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. I hope you don't. Matter of fact, what y'all doing right now? Are you up just kicking it, or are you like working the graveyard? Because I know it's all about the graveyard. Used to do I used to work dispatch a long time ago for a locksmith company at night. That was the bestest. It was not. So since we're not struggle streaming, we're gonna jump out of this struggle music. Every night we struggling, and let's change that up to, let's get to some regulating, because there's a lot of regulating going on right now. Starting up in the old town of Dalton in the Thornton Township. So let's go check that out right quick. See what these fine people are doing up here. Let's go.
Henyard Investigates was first to report today a top aide to Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has been indicted for bankruptcy fraud. It comes amid ongoing questions about Henyard's spending and leadership.
And legal experts say it could be the first sign that the feds are trying to get people to share what they know about potential government corruption in the south suburbs.
Let's be smarter than that. This is not just the price is right.
Despite sitting next to Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard at countless meetings, the feds allege Keith Freeman not only failed to report his income from the village, he actively lied about it. Freeman is Henyard's top aide in both Dalton and Thornton Township. As part of a personal bankruptcy case, he was required to report his earnings. But this indictment on one count of bankruptcy fraud says Freeman falsely stated he only worked for the township and made just over $99,000 last year. Prosecutors say he tried to hide his Dalton earnings via a pass-through company, which brought his income to $195,000 last year. They further allege...
Yo, this is funny because this is tied into some of the stuff that I do at work during the daytime. And usually a lot of quote-unquote wealthy, sophisticated people like to do things through pass-through companies, typically not to pay taxes on them. And that's exactly what he's doing right here. Let us continue.
The village of Robbins has a claim against Freeman for more than $90,000 he took without authorization from
that would be stealing.
A previous post he held as village administrator there.
This is long coming. If a person can lie on their own financials, what do you think they're doing for the village?
Nobody is untouchable. That's what I want to say. Nobody is untouchable. So if this is just the first domino to all of them falling, let it happen.
Dude, Big Bradley, how you feeling?
Freeman is a key player in our reporting on Tiffany Henyard because of how many roles he plays for her. In addition to the Dalton and Township jobs, Freeman also, for a time, was the registered agent of the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation.
But there's no foundation in the state of Illinois moving like we moving and shaking.
I know they're not.
That's right.
While Henyard's namesake charity claims to help cancer patients, WGN Investigates has reported it received most of its early money from taxpayers and has failed to file required paperwork showing how it spends its money.
How come you don't respond to my emails?
Yo, man, why you ain't hit me back?
Huh?
There you go. That's all you're getting from me. That's all you're getting from me today.
How come the charity hasn't filed its financial disclosures about how money was spent?
How would I know that? That's a good question, though.
For months, WGN
That's a good
Investigates has
question.
reported on
Tap.
questionable conduct on Henyard's watch, including unexplained travel, including first-class airfare and fine
right.
dining
Vegas,
on the
baby.
taxpayer's dime.
Gumpa gumps.
Credit card statements show Freeman was on many of the trips,
Yeah, he
including
went.
one to Las Vegas, where another Henyard aide now claims a Dalton trustee sexually assaulted her.
Mm-hmm.
Others accuse Henyard of using Freeman and other government employees to retaliate against her opponents. Court watchers say the feds could use the bankruptcy charge against Freeman to get him to cooperate in other investigations.
Rico.
When the feds are looking at a larger scheme or relationship, oftentimes what they have to do is go for people who are below or the lower part of the food chain, get them for something, charge them with something, because that's the leverage they need to be able to sit down with that person and say, now, if you help us, life might be good for you. If you don't help us, you're in a lot of trouble. Now, what do you want to do?
What you want to do?
So I said one down, about 25 more to go.
Can you see?
No comment this afternoon from Keith Freeman. His boss, Tiffany Henyard, said through a spokesperson that she's aware of the indictment but won't comment due to the ongoing investigation. So we don't know whether taxpayers will continue paying Freeman's 2 salaries despite today's bankruptcy fraud charge.
Fraud and scamming. Now, what else do we got going on up here in Dalton? Well, and really, to be honest, Tiffany's been doing this for a couple of years now. Everybody's been reporting on it for almost a year now. Shouts out to PBL, Pink Book Lessons. She probably broke this out well over a year ago. And the thing is, one of the reasons she's been able to do all of this stuff all of this time is because she's got this handy little police force.
VLAD Investigates was first to report today a top aide to Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has been indicted for bankruptcy fraud. It comes amid ongoing.
Yeah, we heard it a little while ago. What we want to know about is how she's been shaking everybody down in the city of Dalton.
South suburban Dalton. So last night, police shut down 2 popular bars. One trustee says the reason? Because they're not financially supporting Dalton's mayor, Tiffany Henyard. Our Dane Placco has more.
Is it coincidence or retaliation? Both of the Dalton bars that were raided and shut down last night, we visited the day before as part of our ongoing investigation into allegations of political corruption in Dalton.
They just rushed in here, put police at the front of the door like they was doing a raid on the drug house or something.
A team of Dalton police officers raided and shut down Pablo's Bar and Cafe and Rinky's Bar and Cafe, both located on Sibley, about a block apart.
Everything going peacefully, nothing going on. It's like 10 police cars came in and they start pushing customers from here. And
again, police. The police are doing this on her behalf.
He said, if you don't leave, we're going to lock you up.
Employees and owners say it's part of an ongoing campaign of harassment by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard that is costing jobs and money. Their business licenses have been stripped by Dalton, but they've continued to operate with a state license.
I have like over 23 employees. They work from the local township. Now, end of the day, all the employees, they're going to lose their job.
It's ridiculous. We all have mouths to feed. We all have kids. They're not giving us no explanation.
On Monday, we visited both Rinky's and Pablo's to ask about allegations their licenses were being held up for political reasons. Then last evening, we broke the story that FBI agents have questioned at least a half-dozen people, including business owners, a former Dalton employee, and an elected official as part of an investigation into Mayor Henyard. Less than 2 hours after our story aired, police raided the 2 bars.
Someone seen you go in there, and then 2 hours after your story airs, that police are at both of these establishments.
Dalton trustee Tammy Brown says she believes the raids are meant to send a warning to others not to talk. And she believes there's a reason so many Dalton businesses are having trouble getting their licenses renewed.
I'm sure that they were asked to donate, make a donation, and most likely they didn't make a donation. So you don't get a chance to stay open if you don't pay the Queen's ransom.
I mean, it's funny the way she said it. It's not funny, for the people that actually stay there. But the reason I bring that up is because all of the heat is on her. And yes, this aide just got some heat because he's got the bankruptcy fraud thing going on, and she's got another trustee that's got the quote unquote certain assault charge going on. So they're getting a little bit of heat, but most of the heat is on the quote unquote city girl super mayor, and rightfully so. But my thing is, not enough focus is on this police force, because she couldn't be doing half the stuff she's doing without the aid of the police force. Those are her strong arms. And the thing is, the reason we know that the police force is a big part of this and is corrupt is because the previous police chief that wasn't standing for that was fired by Ms. Henyard.
Suburban Police Chief is blowing the whistle on the embattled mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard.
Yes, Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars in overtime.
And now the former chief is talking about it exclusively to Fox 32's Dane Platko.
Yeah, Mayor Henyard fired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board. So now Robert Collins has filed a lawsuit against the village. And tonight he's talking exclusively to Fox 32 about what he saw on the inside.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking. Having to provide officers on the detail rather than have officers out patrolling the streets.
Former Dalton Police Chief Robert Collins spoke to us from Florida, where he's taken a new job. But he says he remains frustrated by what he experienced leading an undermanned, overworked police department. Demanded a large personal security detail.
You know, wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
Last year, Fox 32 investigated Henyard's detail, following along as Dalton police officers drove her from morning till night, often to her second job as Thornton Township supervisor in South Holland, racking up hundreds of hours of overtime, costing taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
At least 2 and as many as 4 officers at a time, he says. Collins says the security detail was warranted when it started in 2021, after a police-involved shooting sparked protests in the community.
And at some point, the protests stopped. The things going on around the protests all eventually stopped. However, the detail continued.
But now he says it's turned into more than just security. Officers are being used as Henyard's personal valets.
Officers would be sent out to run errands, to do pickups, to do drop-offs.
Just last week, a mass shooting on Sibley Boulevard in Dalton left 4 people injured. Collins believes the bad guys know there aren't enough cops on Dalton streets.
No, they're rolling.
The village of Dalton has its challenges with gangs, guns, and drugs. And if those officers aren't there, the visibility isn't there. And if the visibility isn't there, then criminals have free reign.
Super mayor. That's what the super mayor has going on. And that's what I had. That's all I was going to update on Ms. Henyard. Her top aide just got indicted for bankruptcy fraud. She's got another aide that's got SA, certain assault charges going on. Oh, yeah. And then this happened before I went to go pick my
Dalton
daughter
Village
up
Hall
from
sits
work.
empty, closed for the weekend following a sudden visit from federal agents Friday.
Yeah.
The FBI
They rolled
confirming an investigation now underway in the south suburb, though declining to comment on the nature of it, calling it, quote, court-authorized law enforcement activity. But according to sources, at least 2 subpoenas were served during the FBI investigation to obtain personnel records, including those of police officers, as well as business records. Dalton trustee Brittany Norwood welcomes the investigation.
We have been asking for someone to come out here and save us. There have been a lot of spending
anybody
that we're not really privy of, and we've been asking for answers.
The investigation comes as the village has been embattled with controversy for months. Dalton Village Administrator and Thornton Township Municipality Manager Keith Freeman was indicted Tuesday in federal court, accused of bankruptcy fraud.
Our job is to make sure we take care of the business.
He's a close ally of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who herself is accused of mishandling funds. In fact, the Dalton Village Board recently hired former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to investigate allegations of corruption and theft by Mayor Henyard, who previously vetoed the board's request to launch a federal investigation into her.
Vetoing that.
Henyard is also named alongside village trustee and community activist Andrew Holmes in a sexual assault lawsuit.
Good job, Holmes.
It was filed by a Dalton police officer who was a member of Henyard's security detail, as well as a woman who used to work for the mayor.
All those who are doing wrong need to resign. Step down.
As the sun set on Village Hall Friday, some other trustees welcoming what they describe as a new day in Dalton as they await the findings of the federal visit.
Of course, you don't want to see the negativity that's been brought in, but again, the sun is shining today. And this is a good day for the residents of Dalton.
Now, when asked about this FBI investigation, a spokesperson for the village of Dalton didn't directly address it, only saying that there wasn't a raid.
It wasn't. Despite what you all just saw, there was not a raid, okay? It wasn't. Stop your lying eyes from lying to you. So we're going to leave old Illinois with the city of Dalton, and we got our coverage of our poor leadership, and we're going to come down here to Georgia, a little bit south of the metro Atlanta area, and see what's going on with this mayor down here. I believe had a little incident.
Weeks after he gave a speech about gun violence, he was shot.
Oh, and incidentally, I believe this incident right here is in actual August of last year of 2023 is when this happened to this mayor. But it's important. Check it out.
Drive-by happened in a metro area city where he stopped to have some dinner. Channel 2's Tom Jones live in LaGrange now with the story that's concerning to just about anybody, Tom.
Hey, you're right, Justin. Pineview Mayor Brandon Holt says he was shot right here in the stomach during that drive-by. He says that he still has evidence of the shooting inside him.
I have a moving bullet in me.
Pineview, Georgia Mayor Brandon Holt is walking around with a bullet inside him. He says that's okay because he still has his life.
At that moment, I really thought my life was gone.
Holt was the victim of a drive-by shooting.
I got hit right here.
His city manager says her husband informed her what was going on.
You hear the mayor has been shot. You're thinking what?
I'm just thinking, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
It was August 11th on Lafayette Parkway in LaGrange. The mayor had just left this restaurant and was about to go to his hotel in McDonough. A car, possibly a dark-colored Dodge Charger,
what's happening with you?
him. That's when he heard several gunshots.
It was over 8.
8?
They were trying to kill you.
Yeah, they was trying to get you,
the
bro.
The mayor managed to park and call 911. That's when he noticed the blood.
From seeing the blood, I thought I was about to just die there.
The mayor wonders if the shooting was gang-related. Police told me there's no evidence of that. Holt says officers told him it may have been a case of mistaken identity.
It could have.
I dedicated this memorial bench here to a local family here.
Holt says what's ironic is a few weeks before he was shot, he dedicated this bench in Pineview to a man killed trying to break up a fight.
I did a big speech on that day
on ending gun violence. Then gun violence found him.
It was very traumatizing, especially never imagined being shot.
And Holt says doctors don't want to remove that bullet right now because it keeps shifting, keeps moving. He says he wants the killer caught. The LaGrange police say they have no suspects right now, but are asking for the public's help finding the shooter. We're live in Troup County in LaGrange. Tom Jones, Channel 2 Action News.
So, if I'm talking about lacking leadership, why would I bring up a story about a mayor in LaGrange, Georgia getting shot? Well, I'm wondering if it has anything to do with this.
Tonight, the mayor of Pineview was arrested and charged with 75 counts of theft by taking. That's according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Wilcox County Sheriff and District Attorney asked the GBI to investigate allegations that 34-year-old Brandon Holt misappropriated city funds. Holt was booked into the Wilcox County Jail on January 16th. He has since been released on bond. The investigation is still ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to call the GBI Perry Regional Office at 478-987-4545.
So, Mr. Mayor was shot in August, and in January was caught stealing, and today he got removed from office after investigation into the theft from the city. As we see here, Middle Georgia mayor has been removed from office, has been indicted on charges that he stole from the city that he was in charge of. Officials said Mayor Brandon Holt, 34, misappropriated the city of Pineview funds on January 16th. Authorities charged Mr. Holt with 75 counts of theft by taking. According to an executive order signed by Governor George Kemp on Tuesday, Holt was suspended from office immediately without further pending final disposition of the case until the expiration of his term, whichever occurs first. So, this is my question about the poor mayor that was shot back in August. Was he shot because of some stuff that had to do with all of these thefts, or was he stealing, or was the thefts associated with people he was trying to pay or whatever while he got shot? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. And at the beginning of it, it seemed like, oh no, a poor mayor, has been a victim of some kind of random violence. But poor mayor had a lot of stuff going on down in the city of Pineview. So it's like, again, we keep having all of these little towns and these cities elect these people for leadership, and they're not doing anything but bringing a bunch of crazy drama with them, whether it's scams and stealing or whatever. And I don't know what this dude is involved in. And luckily, no bystanders or whatever got hurt because of it. Here in Montana, God dang it, it's a piece of a heart or something on top of people it may be saying shot every day and just don't get found every day. Oh yeah. Listen, I went from a white man using racial slurs to a grandma dancing in the club to this. Yeah, you winning on the internet. Hey man, but that's what it's like when you hitchhiking on the internet, thumbs up, thumbs down. You never know where you end up, what you gonna find. But I'll say this, Mr. Smith, I appreciate you stopping by. I do. And actually, we're gonna roll over to the next topic. Before we get to the Diddy, is WNBA talk, because of course with all the stuff that went down with March Madness, records being broken with by Caitlin Clark, her drafting, a lot has started to be to come up and be said about NBA pay. So I'm gonna let some clips play about different opinions on it, and then I'm gonna add my 2 cents at the end of that. So let's check it out right quick. Let's start with Dan
Full
Levitard.
of interesting things here. If you stop for a moment to genuflect at the moment that we are in, people will complain about whether Caitlin Clark is too famous, whether she deserves Saturday Night Live or South Carolina should be up there. But at this moment in history, that woman who has acknowledged at every turn very gracefully all the pioneers who came before her, all of the pioneers, because they are many. That woman now drags this sport to unprecedented heights that we've never seen, where, holy, we're watching on Monday night a made-for-television extravaganza about looking good, feeling good, presenting good, like putting on a show for the people because your sport has arrived. But what it really was is, holy, these women are underpaid. Let's celebrate how we have now finally reached male equality you'll celebrate our draft events on television. We'll turn these into national holidays. It'll be fashion show. All of it off-season bull where the leagues can control the players because Caitlin Clark should be available to go to wherever the hell she wants to play, anywhere she wants in the world. But she has to go to the first team that drafts her in an unfair draft that would be eradicated if sports were truly
That's like
fair.
every other sport.
I think she'd choose Indiana.
I mean,
Maybe.
remember Iowa, same market, Dan.
Yeah.
Maybe, but here are the numbers, and they are shocking. She will make $76,000 this year, Caitlin Clark, her rookie deal, 4 years, and she's well paid. Brittany Griner had to go to Russia because of how poorly we pay and have always paid in this sport.
Yeah.
4 years, $338,000. So she gets in 2025, $78,000. 2026, $85,000. 2027, $97,000. So she would qualify for low-income housing in San Francisco.
That is
she she'll be paid less.
To be honest, I would almost bet money at Vegas half the nation qualifies for low-income housing in San Francisco. I mean, for real.
Than the average salary of a union nurse, teacher, or cop.
Pay the teachers.
They're going to be paying her $23,000 less than James Harden's fine for calling Daryl Morey a liar.
Wow. It's why that big three thing, honestly, $5 million for like 8 games.
Did y'all know that? Cube offered her $8 million? Hey.
She needs to opt out of that 4th year now, right?
She was wearing a $17,000 Prada outfit last night. That's about a quarter of her first year.
It was
salary.
the first time Prada dressed anyone for the draft, so it was
Fiscally
another like
irresponsible.
very, very cool moment to show that this event had arrived and ratings were coming.
Greg
Ratings
Cody has
are
arrived.
covered.
Howdy, Drifter.
Hey, Drifter. We do understand that her WNBA salary is a fraction of what her income
Hey,
will
don't
be,
come in there
right? I mean,
correcting
we're
them.
acting like she's only making $70,000.
No, I'm not acting like anything.
What you
Yes,
sipping
she will
on,
make
Pops?
plenty of money,
I'm
but
sipping.
not because her sport pays her fairly. The
Right.
salaries in this sport are criminally low. Again,
All right. So, my man Dan Lebertard said that the salaries in this sport, meaning women's basketball, women's WNBA, professional basketball, are criminally low. Dan Lebertard's take. All right, we're going to check out Jason Whitlock's take. I don't think he's going to agree.
In more than 30 years of history, the WNBA has never once turned a profit. What business overpays? They're overpaid at $75,000 a year, and I think the top veteran players make like $250,000 a year. They're overpaid already. And so what they're trying to create in these women is a sense of entitlement. Oh, you're owed something. You're mistreated. You know what? You should be just like Megan Rapinoe. You should be just like all the angry feminists that have dominated the WNBA and led it to 30 plus years of no profit and total irrelevance. You need to mimic their behavior. Join us, the legion of angry feminists, the legion of alphabet mafia angry people, Black Lives Matter, and we're going to take a knee, and we're going to complain. We're not paid. We only make 50 cents on the dollar for men. It's all a lie. And so they're going to take the gift that Angel Reese has given them, the likability that they just garnered last night through the WNBA draft, and Hannah Nicole Jones or Nicole Hannah Jones or whatever her name is, the little angry New York Times lady, Russell Wilson, well-intentioned idiot that's always looking. What can I say that will make people like me over Twitter?
God.
John Payton already told you, hey, cut it out, man.
Why you roasting Russ?
And I like you, Russell. Cut it out. We haven't been unfair to women. You don't have to believe every lie told over Twitter or told on some college campus.
All right. So we got our opinion on pay from something that seemed very left-leaning with Dan Lebertard. And then we got our opinion on WNBA pay from someone that is very conservative with Jason Whitlock. So where lies the truth in there? Well, let's see if the commissioner, the WNBA commissioner, sheds a little bit of light
an
on that.
indelible imprint on the business of women's basketball. You had a big night, draft night, on Monday. The ratings were big. The ratings for the college championship game outdid any basketball game, male or female, in recent years. How important is Caitlin Clark going to be to growth in revenue for your league this year and into the future?
Yes, it's great to be here, and it's so important to have household names and build rivalries and have games of consequence. That's what March Madness had. That's what this draft class was amazing the other night, Monday night. Over 3 million people watched that draft at peak. And so it's really important to have those household names. These players, we have the confluence of a lot of positive elements happening right now with these generational players with huge social media followings. They have huge endorsements already coming in. They're getting more endorsements now that they've declared pro. But this whole draft class was amazing, with Caitlin and Angel Reese coming off of last year's national championship was the most viewed ever. And now this year we blew those records away. And we're so excited to have Caitlin and the rest of the rookies coming into the WNBA this year.
Yeah, Camila Cardozo, Paige Beckers, who I think is still at UConn, but obviously is on the horizon to come in. You've got compelling personalities, but back to my question. How much do you think, for example, season ticket sales are going to go up? How much do you think is Caitlin going to mean going from 10,000 attendance at a typical game on a Tuesday or a Sunday to 15 or 20,000? What?
Yes, business is booming, especially for those games, just like what happened in the Big Ten with Iowa playing in those sold-out arenas. That's happening for us, and hopefully a rising tide lifts all boats, and it'll lift all of our teams. We have some great rivalries forming with Caitlin Sabrina in New York, with Caitlin Diana Taurasi in Phoenix. There's a little edge there. Obviously, you have Cardoso and Angel Reese going to play in Chicago. So I think parity in the game is really important, as well as having these players really help us drive the league to higher heights. So you asked a revenue question.
Yes.
Revenues, media rights, corporate partnerships, and then gate, people coming to games. So we need more people to watch, attend, and the quality of the game is what I'm so proud of. It's there. I mean, people love watching our game. If we can get fans into the funnel to watch the games, they're going to come back, and then they're going to attend and rep and buy merch and everything that goes around the revenue model for sports. So it starts with media rights. We need to get those valued correctly. And then it goes to corporate partnerships, and we've been doing great on that. There's a lot of corporations who are stepping up to support women's sports.
NBA.
A lot of money and capital inflows. We raised capital, $75 million in capital 2 years ago. So when you see that money coming in, you know you're a growth stock, and you know you're a legitimate sports media and entertainment property.
Kathy, what does that ultimately mean for WNBA players, where there's been so much criticism around how they make much less than NBA players and, in general, male athletes overall?
Yeah, and one thing, there's a false narrative out there about Caitlin herself, and nobody ever just looks at base pay. It's proxy season, right? You look at base pay, plus bonus, plus stock options, et cetera. She'll have the ability to make up to $500,000 in just her W earnings this year. And then obviously she has huge endorsements. You just mentioned her Nike endorsement. There's a huge opportunity for us to lift this for all of our players. And as we get into a new collective bargaining agreement in a year or two, that'll be an opportunity to pay the players more. The one we did in 2020 was viewed as progressive. And
Okay. So I was hoping the commissioner got more into the numbers as far as attendance, rating, et cetera, et cetera. And instead, she just kind of glazed over that and just said that the minimum base pays have other incentives and things built into them. All right, so we've got the argument of underpaid. We've got the argument of underpaid. Where does this actually lie? And why am I bringing it up? Okay, well, let's look at the WNBA by attendance from Statica. All right. Average regular season attendance at WNBA games in 2023 by team. Top team, the Aces. I believe they're the reigning champions. They get just under 10,000 a game in the arena. Right? That's their top team, 10,000. So you see about the top three hover around that 10,000 mark. The average is about 7,500. And then you see the worst going all the way down here is the Atlanta Dream, down here at 3,000 people per game. That's who's watching in live. Okay. That's who's attending the games. That's who's buying tickets and filling the seats, so to speak, at the arenas. All right. So let's look at television ratings. This is a record year. WNBA 2023 season delivers a record-breaking viewership and attendance. And let's see what a record-breaking viewership looks like. Looks like WNBA on ABC averaged 627,000 viewers, making it the most regular season watched on ABC in 11 years. The most. All right. Then this looks like it is bolstering what my man was talking about earlier, where he was saying, does that take this from 10,000 a game to 15 or 20? And it's showing that the average that shows up in attendance at these games is 6,600. 6,600 per game. All right. So we're getting a little over 600,000 watching the games, and we're getting 6,600 basically in attendance at the games. All right. Okay. So the thing is, it always gets brought up is about this comparison of what the men players get paid as opposed to what the women's players get paid. So let's look at viewership in the NBA. It's up 10% from last season across networks. So it's up a little bit as well. NBA game viewership across ESPN and ABC was up 16% from last season, according to Nielsen. The 29 game broadcast averaged 1.7 million views compared to 1.4 last year. Now remember, WNBA games are getting 600,000 people to look at them. NBA is getting a million and 100,000, 1.1 million more than that per game on average. All right. So let's see what it looks like in attendance. All right. Attendance here, according to ESPN. As you see, Bulls, top of the league. Bulls, Mavs, 76ers, Heat. All these guys are bringing in about 20,000 butts and seats per game. The lowest is at 16,000. So WNBA gets about 6,000 people in seats on average. And the NBA looks like they average around what? 18, 17. So why am I bringing this up? I bring this up because just like in any other business, wherever the money goes, that's where the pay goes. So it's like I keep seeing these people bring up these arguments about the WNBA pay like it's a evil boogeyman man issue. Like men are holding these women back in their pay. And that's not the case. Actually, men are actually helping the sport more than they're getting credit for. And that's the other reason I bring this up. Does the NBA subsidize the WNBA? Let's see. Oh, what does it say? What is the NBA financial backing and subsidies for the WNBA? The NBA provides the WNBA with an annual endowment or allowance of over $15 million. That's annual. This financial support goes to help cover various operating costs for WNBA teams, including facilities, travel, marketing, and administration costs. As of 2023, the NBA owns 50% of the WNBA, while the 12 NBA teams collectively own the other 50%. This is the male version. The male version is giving up allowance that owe 50%. WNBA lack of profitability. That's actually what Jason Whitlock said. He said it hadn't turned a profit in 30 years. It seems to be true. The WNBA generates less revenue compared to the NBA. The financial resources from ticket sales, merch, and broadcasting deals are not sufficient to sustain the WNBA. The WNBA on its own cannot even sustain itself. And wow, I told you all of this, and I didn't click the camera back to split screen to show you what it was I was reading. There's no reason to put it back up there. You can, I know, I guess I will. I will put it back up there. So you can see what I was talking about. And I'll let that go and I'll talk about it. But the thing is like they keep making this comparison about the NBA and the WNBA. They're not the same. One of them is profitable, the other one is not. And then the one that's profitable, the men's game, gets no credit for propping up the women's game. The women's game has not turned a profit in 30 years. And the reason it still exists is because of the men's game. But that's not talked about. All that gets talked about is the income disparagement. The disparagement is the interest in the game. And where does that interest lie? Well, let's see. Since we're bringing it up, let's see who's fans and who's and who in fact are watching these games. So again, from Statistica, level of interest in WNBA in the United States as of March 2023 by gender. Let's check this out. All right. I believe the key is at the bottom, but I believe hard blue is serious fans. The dark blue is casual, and then gray are not fans at all. As you see, the male 11% are hardcore fans as opposed to 4% females. Yeah, avid fans in the baby blue, the dark is the casual. And look at this. Females, 4%, casuals, 19, not a fan at all, 77. Whereas the men are 11% hardcore fans, 29% casual, and 60 not fans at all. So I bring all of this up to say, if we care about the women being paid and the women not going to Russia, then women need to watch the game. Because guess who isn't having ratings and attendance issues? Beyonce, Usher. Women are mortgaging their homes and losing their relationships to make pilgrimages out to Vegas to go to Usher residency. Not to Aces games, not to Atlanta Dreams games. It's not our fault. It's their fault. You've produced a product for them that they do not come and watch. So please stop blaming us. And I say us, I mean guys for it, okay? Women, stop watching the Housewives and loving hip hop or whatever and go watch a WNBA basketball game to keep them from going to play in Russia. The end. All right, let's go on over to let's see what DJ Akademiks has to say about the old Diddy saga as he sat down with VLAD TV. Let's see what he got to say. I would like to know because I didn't watch it. I just recorded it. VLAD.
Okay. Well, the second biggest thing that's going on right now in hip hop is the Diddy situation.
Hashtag Daily
That's
Diddy.
the second? I think that's the first.
It is the first.
Hey, listen, when I
It's
found
definitely the first, but right now in terms of time-wise,
Okay.
you know,
All
it's a little bit older. You know, it's had a little bit more time to age.
Man, every day there's something new.
Oh,
man.
every day there's something new. You know, and I think, you know, I got interviewed by Pierce Morgan and News Nation, I believe. And I think I was the first person on TV to talk about how Diddy's being called the Diddler.
The Diddler.
Yeah, they got a couple nicknames from the Diddlers.
And No Diddy, you know, you interviewed Quilly.
Yeah, Quilly, my man Quilly. You know, he got No Diddy trademarked.
Yeah,
You know?
and let me tell you something. Every interview I've done since then, there's been like 50 No Diddies thrown out.
Got throw a little
all
No Diddy
over
in
the
there, you know?
place. Well, Diddy's Miami and LA homes were raided, allegedly over sex trafficking allegations.
Allegedly.
His sons Justin and King were handcuffed. And Diddy himself was not arrested. He was questioned, I think. And they were saying, oh, he's like trying to escape, you know, to the Caribbean. But no, he's back in Miami. You see him photographed and videotaped around. Everything
Out
else
here.
like that. But he hasn't been charged yet.
Oh.
Do you think he'll be charged?
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I mean, the feds don't do raids if they're fishing.
Yeah.
Usually it's like the final couple nails in the coffin.
Well, I do think they're fishing to some extent. But I do believe they have had him in the crosshairs for a long time. They've inquired. Someone sent me a early 2000s article from Smoking Gun, where it came out in a motion when Jimmy Henchman was questioned by the feds, and during the proffer session, they asked him randomly. They're like, "Hey, do you know anything about Diddy and his sexual escapades?" That hints to we're investigating him. Maybe not an active, like, we're going crazy investigating, but they've been inquiring about Diddy and sexual allegations for quite some years, definitely over a decade. So, the point that they get to, that they're kicking open the front door,
kicking the door,
they've now made up their mind. And they might not find what they want, but they'll make something up to get them. Because at this point, it's too embarrassing. So whether we all know if it comes out and he's only called, like, he gets like a tax charge, we know they ain't find it at all. But I think at the very least they're coming with some charges, right? And I hate to even speculate on this, because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me if, say, I was truly innocent and going through that. But because the feds are doing it in the way they have, I gotta imagine that they're trying to apply the same things they did to R. Kelly, which is they're going to go for sex trafficking, and they're going to go for racketeering. And under racketeering is going to be the threats of violence, going to be possible shootings, there's going to be maybe sexual assault, not even maybe, probably, and other things. And they're going to hit him with a bill that is, has so many charges. Diddy's 54. At this point, like, again, I'm watching all these things take place, and I see Diddy, like, making these public appearances, and I know what that is. If you ever got a lawyer, your lawyer gonna tell you that. Hey, you're an innocent man. Yeah. Act like an innocent man, which means don't just hide in the crib and act like you're scared. Hey, walk around. You can ride your bicycle. Take a couple pictures with people. Except I don't think it's working to make people think he's innocent. I think people are trying to, like, look at him to see, are you sweating? Are you breaking? Yeah. And we're going to see. I hope we don't get to the point where he does a Gayle King interview, because I think his team is trying to control the press. If you don't realize, you see Stevie J
said a Gayle King interview.
When the first happened, they're like, "Where's his friends?" We're still saying, "Where's his friends?" Yeah. But now Stevie J's posting videos of everybody who went to the Diddy party. Hey, you motherfuckers! Hey, all y'all quiet motherfuckers who went to the party. Remember, you were here too. You can say something. Quiet. Post the video. You see everybody. Kanye West. You see The Weeknd. You see Kevin Hart. Even though that ain't the party. This is after the show is after the party, and after the after party is the Diddy party. Yes, they talking about that part. They're not talking about the shit where everybody got tuxedos. Yeah. They're talking about the shit where, niggas got Speedos and shit going on, like some other shit. Yeah, exactly. So, but they're trying to do their little PR thing. I'm seeing it happen, and I definitely think he's gonna be charged, man. It's just not looking good. Once they hit him with a racketeering charge, there's just too much things that are there. The person who's going to sink him is Cassie.
Right, because although he settled a civil lawsuit with Cassie, and I'm sure the settlement included an NDA, I looked this up. NDAs are private agreements. When it comes to criminal charges, they're thrown out the window. Yeah. So she can be compelled to take the stand and repeat everything that she was basically signed in the NDA saying she wouldn't say. And from what I'm seeing in the news, she's actually cooperating with the feds.
Well, she would have to, I would believe.
She wouldn't have to unless she's being charged with something herself.
Well, if we're thinking about, again, we're assuming here, but let's keep assuming. If they're trying to get him for racketeering, and they're saying he has a criminal enterprise that have ensnared and entrapped and recruited women and
men.
And a lot of dudes, okay?
And men.
For the purpose of commercial sex acts. Well, let's go back to Cassie's own lawsuit. Cassie said, well, I was the one that were Googling big black dick men. She was the one hiring people.
Right. I heard from somebody, and I can't say who it is, that a lot of these threesomes with male prostitutes, Cassie was the one that was out getting them, that she was into this.
Okay.
That's what I heard. I'm not going to say by who, but that's what I heard. And that's not very far-fetched. You got a young girl, she probably enjoys sex with young, muscular men her own age as opposed to this older guy. Okay.
What did you hear about what Diddy was doing, man? Was it like that's just odd? That's the odd part of it. Diddy's whacking off in the corner while another man boning his girl. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway. Okay, so if we're going down that train of thought.
Yeah.
So that she was actively recruiting. Whether it was by force, which she's alleging, like, hey, I didn't want to do it. He was making me do it.
Hey.
This reminds us of what the feds allege and actually have laid out with Jeffrey Epstein. They say Ghislaine Maxwell was brought in. Sometimes she would bring girls around.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, okay, we're going to get you into a massage class. Or she was the person that would be like, hey, no, it's okay. Look, I'm a woman too. I'm here. She was very active, right? Ghislaine Maxwell was charged.
Right, she's in prison now.
Ghislaine Maxwell never came out and said she was a victim. Cassie said she's a victim. I'm pretty sure they have sat with Cassie and say, hey, listen, you're a victim, but there is a way to look at this that you're not a victim.
Right, you could be charged and you can go to prison.
Yes.
You got 2 kids. Think about that. Now you can cooperate, though.
Exactly.
And we'll make all this go away.
You've helped this enterprise get other women and men into this thing. And yeah, we believe your victim story, but we'll believe it if you're cooperating. If you don't want to cooperate, you seem like you're guilty. And
damn. All right. Let's take it to, since we on Diddy, we're going to wrap up the Diddy coverage and see what Mr. Shyne has to say. Because like I said, I did not know that he was a politician in Belize at this point. Did not. And he appreciates the new evidence and stuff coming out, but he doesn't really want to speak on it as far as saying it was Diddy.
When you hear him, the victim saying that it was Diddy that shot her, that is what is the most remarkable. Oh, you didn't see that?
I saw it.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't see that?
That was triggered by a lawsuit from a producer that produced on the Love album, who is making accusations, and in those accusations he says that the gentleman confessed to the shooting.
Diddy.
And that is what stands out to me the most, because I've done my best to put it behind me and to move forward, but it certainly reopens the wounds that I've been saying this all along. Everyone knew all along that I was the fall guy. But my political enemies and, detractors tried to make me into, this criminal. But everyone knew that I was a young kid that took the fall. Everyone knew that. That was the story. I'm just saying that I maintained my innocence all this time. I said I was defending myself. I didn't get into who did what. But the victim is telling you who did what. And I understand that there are other witnesses.
Is she accurate, sir?
I'm not going to get into that.
Hey, man, what did I tell you? I ain't getting into
it. It does open wounds.
You it wasn't me.
And certainly I am relieved that people are saying what the truth is, that, I did not shoot those people. I maintain that I never shoot nobody, that there were other guns there. I always said that. That has not changed. And that is the testimony that came out. Fragments were never removed, so there was never any forensic testing to say who it was. But the victims are vindicating me. Witnesses are vindicating me. But I have moved on. I'm not trying to relive that. And so I am appreciative of whatever contributions Diddy has made to help the people of Belize. I wish him well. I pray for him, and I pray for the alleged victims. And if it is true, may justice be served. If it is not, it's a tragedy, because a global icon would have been destroyed.
Yo, big ups to Shyne, man. Like, I'm ridiculously impressed at what he's made of himself after all of this. I mean, and then the fact that still he like, hey, yo, I just wanted to maintain my innocence. I told you I was the fall guy, but still being like, I'm not going to speak on who did what, like still trying to keep it G. That's crazy. But like a respected politician in Belize, man, like shouts out to him. Yo, but for real, shouts out to you guys that's still hanging around. And you guys that dropped through here today are super duper duper appreciate it. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Until next time, peace and stay in Forbes.